Welcome to the Healthy Screen Habits podcast. I'm Hillary Wilkinson. Whether you're starting your parenting journey with a newborn or looking to connect with your teen on technology, let's learn some new healthy screen habits together. We know from social media that life online is not always as it seems. Blemishes can be removed, backgrounds cleared up, filters applied. Well, true confession time. Podcasting is no different. The smooth conversations that seem to flow with ease are a result of research, scripting, and most importantly, sound editing. This is kind of my expose upon myself here. The guy who's in charge of making me sound like a seasoned interviewer is also the one who enjoys my mess ups the most. He pulled a few of these for this episode. Alana, I am so sorry. The gardeners just arrived. Can you hear the blower in the background?
Very, very faintly. And if you hadn't pointed it out, I would.
But when we come back, we will learn more about learning on Sorry about strike that. I have to talk to my son. He's my he's my sound editor. So we have to take a break.
Our litmus test is behavior change. If your kid is really grumpy.
Hang on, Tracy. I'm going to stop you. Your sound has gotten very curious all of a sudden.
There is a lawnmower outside.
Oh,
it
okay.
Will take only a minute. I was wondering if that was.
Yeah. So you know what? Hang on. Because I'm also noticing because we're very cheap running as a nonprofit. We use free Zoom. And because there was 3 of us on the line, it gave us the cutoff time. But when we come back, I am going to ask Jesse Hildebrand for his healthy screen habit. Okay. Again, you need some water?
Yeah. I'll take a swig. That was great. This is so much fun. You're a great host.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. You are an absolute doppelganger of one of my son's best friends. I'm having a hard time not calling you Daniel because I'm like, Daniel, blah, blah, blah. I know. It's a little bit crazy to me.
I'm glad to be in Daniel's category for the purposes of today. That's very nice.
Summer is barreling down on us, and while some of us are summer is barreling down on us.
But one of my kids loves baking. And
yay! Oh shoot, Jeannie, you've frozen on me. Juliana, is she frozen on you? Okay. Jeannie, I can't hear you and you're frozen. I got nothing.
Trying. I know, right? Maybe not.
So Fair Play is the leading nonprofit organization committing to Fair Play. Every year we hear about the summer brain drain and the need to keep our kids engaged with tech. And
dream come true. So for my kids, sorry.
You watching me talk? And those were just from this season. My guests often hear the phrase, strike that bud. And if you were listening to all of those bloopers, you heard that bud, who I'm talking to, is actually the reason behind why I even started down this path of healthy screen habits. I'm so happy to share the mic today with the guy behind the scenes, my sound editor, who also happens to be my son. Welcome to this side of the mic, Nathaniel.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, Hillary.
Would you stop? Okay. I'm going with it.
Okay. I am too. I'm not editing this out. This is staying.
I was going to say a bunch of nice things, but I don't know if I'm going to. Okay. I can't imagine pulling this gig off without you, for real. When we first started the podcast, you were living at home and a senior in high school, and we had to figure out how to do this whole thing long distance when you went away to university last fall. And that was when I had kind of one of those I'm feeling my digital immigrant status moments, because I was so stressed out about how I was going to record and edit with you gone. I was literally at the point of tears, recording like a mad woman so that we could have 6 episodes in the vault ready to go, trying to time it around your fall break. And then you looked at me super calm and kind of like I had 3 heads and said, just mail me the files. I can edit them there. And that was truly a when the student becomes the teacher moment for me, for sure. So what was it like having a front seat to some of the issues that we covered, like porn addiction and learning about social development in kids and how tech is affecting them? Like, I'm just interested from like, 19-year-old perspective, like how has learning what you've learned changed what you've thought?
Well, it is interesting to hear the front runners of this screen awareness industry speak about pressing issues. So I have a lot of access to knowledge that a lot of my peers don't. And I'm not going to be the guy who says, hey, that's not healthy whenever I hear someone practicing an unhealthy screen habit, but it's
kind of like
it's just noted. Okay, so it is interesting to have the younger Gen Zer perspective and then the knowledge of the researchers. So
right. So your job is to make things sound pretty. And I just kind of wonder, how do you feel about other things that have become popular to kind of clean us up or make us look good? Like, what are your thoughts on filters? Because basically you apply kind of a sound filter by cleaning up all of my ums and uhs and, oh, there's the gardener outside. And, I mean.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just professional.
So do you think, like, if, say, for example, the use of filters on a headshot is
for vanity?
No. Is like the use of filters on a headshot maybe creates a more professional look?
Yeah, I do, because your professional headshot is what you're presenting, and you want to appear. You don't want to have acne scars. So I think that's valid.
How about in the use of like dating or something like that?
Well, that gets on the lines of like catfishing, kind of almost. It's just not completely honest.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that to be true with your peer group or with your friends? Like, do they have thoughts on filters, or is it just something that's fun and entertaining, or is it like something that can be seen as damaging? Or
well, some filters are just funny.
Sure.
Like, my friends and I will screw around and just give each other pyramid heads or whatever. But I don't surround myself with people who are overly vain, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, can't help you.
It's okay. That's okay. So do you ever talk about things that you've learned on the podcast to your friends?
Never.
Or to your peers?
Never. No.
Oh, well.
I talk about like, oh yeah, I have to edit the podcast, and my friends will be like, oh, what's the podcast? I'm like, well, it's my mom's Healthy Screen Habits podcast.
Okay. Well, so you don't talk about it with your friends, but do you have healthy screen habits? Have any screen habits that you've incorporated into your life?
Well, yeah, I have a tough time going to sleep, so I'm super sensitive about blue light. So I nearly always use blue light glasses, and I try to leave like a half hour of time between screens and bedtime. Even if I am using the goggles, I'll spend half an hour reading or playing Sudoku or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you also, I remember one thing that like my healthy screen habits heart soared when we were moving you into your dorm. And I saw one of the things that you first pulled out was your alarm clock. You don't use your phone for your alarm clock.
I need to protect my sleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this summer, Nathaniel is headed off grid to work at a backcountry adventure camp. So what do you think it will be like to be unplugged for 2.5 months?
I'm looking forward to it. And I'm not totally sure how unplugged it'll be. When I'm at base camp on my off time, I'll have access. So I'll check in every once in a while, but it'll just be like regular backpacking, I feel.
Okay. Are you worried about like losing touch with anybody or anything like that?
No, because I usually do anyway,
Okay.
even just at school.
Okay. So you know better than anyone else. On each episode of the Healthy Screen Habits podcast, I ask my guest for a healthy screen habit. Do you have one?
Yeah, I do. And something I started as soon as I had a game console. It was a Wii back in like 2009. We just had a house rule to never play before like 3:30 or 4. And just growing up that way has just wired my mind that, oh, that's just a late afternoon to evening activity. So unless I'm like at a sleepover at a friend's house, I've never woken up at home and like gone like, oh, let's go play games. It's just wired my brain that way.
Oh, interesting. It's funny what you learn. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it worked for you. And that's actually something that Juliana and I talked about on episode 10.
As I was editing that, I was like, oh shoot, that's my healthy screen habit.
Oh. Okay. So when Nathaniel and his sister were much younger, we would often spend our summer going on adventure days. And these were outings that, well, although planned, they might not turn out exactly the way we thought they would. By calling them adventure days, it allowed for missteps or unplanned closures, and it taught them the importance of flexibility, something that's really helped us out in the past 2 years. Sometimes our greatest adventures were things that we never even set out to do. And this is what I hope for all of you, dear listeners, a summer of adventures, whether they be in your own backyard or traveling afar. As always, we at Healthy Screen Habits practice what we teach. And we will be taking these next few months to connect with the people around us. And well, although we won't be completely unplugged, we will be dialing it back a bit. So with that notice, this closes out season 4 of the podcast. Season 5 will drop September 7th, which is the first Wednesday after Labor Day. When I was a kid, we always started school after Labor Day, and it kind of rose to the status of a benchmark holiday for me. It seemed fitting to keep that tradition with the drop of the podcast for season 5. So thank you so very much for every single download and every time you've shared what you've learned with a mom friend or with your partner or anyone that you've learned from this podcast. I really, truly appreciate it. Have a wonderful summer, and I look forward to bringing you more healthy screen habits. Blah, blah, blah. Have a wonderful summer, and I'll look forward to bringing you more healthy screen habits starting September 7th. For more information, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Healthy Screen Habits. Make sure to visit our website, healthyscreenhabits.org, where you can subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts or via RSS, so you'll never miss an episode. It's free, it's fun, and you get a healthy new screen habit each week. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you giving us a quick rating. It really does help other people find us and spread the word of healthy screen habits. Or if you'd simply like to tell a friend, we'd love that too. I so appreciate you spending your time with me this week, and I look forward to learning more healthy habits together.